Myself, Mrs. Adhav UK from Department of Zoology, RBNB College, Sri Rampur. Today, we are going to discuss about the respiratory system of Piloglobosa. Piloglobosa shows amphibious mode of respiration, that is dual respiration. Means there is aquatic respiration and terrestrial or aerial respiration. Hence, the animal shows these respiratory organs. For aquatic respiration, there is the presence of ctenidium, single ctenidium or gill, and for terrestrial or land respiration, there is single pulmonary sac or lung is present. Also, the nuchal lobes, right nuchal lobe and left nuchal lobe, both are also helpful for the respiration. Here, we will see the location of all these respiratory organs within the body cavity. Suppose this is the mouth, guarded by first pair tentacle called as the labial palps, second pair tentacles which are called as the secondary tentacles or elongated large contractile tentacles. Here, on either side of second pair of tentacles, there is the presence of small omatophores at the base of which eyes are present. Behind this, here the head or protruded part of the body is present, which is called as snout. Head which protrudes, at that time you may call it as a snout. On either side of this head or snout, the mantle wall itself becomes elongated and forms funnel. Here there is the left funnel which is larger. This left funnel is also called as left nuchal lobe or left pseudopipodium or left siphon. On the right side there is small lobe which is called as right nuchal lobe or right pseudopipodium, or you may call it as a right siphon, which is small compared to left, means left is larger and right is smaller. These are the nuchal lobes, right and left, which are present behind the head on either side. These nuchal lobes are nothing but the modification of mantle itself. Then, on the mantle cavity, there is the presence of epithenia, skin fold. Epithenia, that is the skin fold, which arises from the right nuchal lobe base, from the base of right nuchal lobe. It runs backward and goes up to the tip of mantle cavity. This skin fold is called as epithenia and it plays main role for separating the mantle cavity, and it also plays the main role for respiration, whether it may be aquatic or aerial. Due to the presence of epithenia, mantle cavity divided into two parts. Small right chamber is called as branchial chamber, into which present the gill or ctenidium. While the large cavity, which is left side, large cavity is called as pulmonary chamber, into which present the pulmonary sac or lung, or it is also called as lung. Means, due to the presence of this epithenia, skin fold in the mantle cavity, which divide into small right cavity, into which present the gill or ctenidium in the branchial chamber, and left side there is the presence of pulmonary sac or lung, which is larger cavity present on the left side. These are the main organs of respiration, that is single ctenidium or gill, this one pulmonary sac or lung, this one, and nuchal lobes, right and left to the left side of body, right to the right side of body. Through this left water enters and through this right water goes outside. These are the organs of respiration. Then we will see all these organs in detail. First we will see the ctenidium. Ctenidium is also called as gill. Gill is monopectinate. Why? Because suppose this is the ctenidial axis. On this ctenidial axis, lamellae are present on one side only. One side only. They are not present on this side. If they are present on both the sides, then that type of gill is called as bipectinate. But here only one side gill lamellae are present. Gill lamellae also called as leaflets, and hence only one side gill lamellae or leaflets present to the ctenidial axis. Hence this type of gill is called as monopectinate type of gill, which is present in Piloglobosa. This gill, which is present on the right side of mantle cavity, this cavity is called as branchial cavity or branchial chamber. The gill attached to the mantle wall by means of a line of attachment. That line of attachment is called as ctenidial axis. It is called as ctenidial axis. Means with the help of this ctenidial axis or line of attachment, the gill, monopectinate gill, attaches to the mantle wall in the branchial chamber or branchial cavity, which is small, present on the right side of the body. This single ctenidium or gill shows number of lamellae. These are the lamellae. They are also called as leaflets. These lamellae or leaflets are arranged right angle to each other. They are parallel to one another. They are largest in the middle, and on both the side they goes on gradually decreasing. Means largest lamellae are present in the middle of the ctenidium or gill, and smaller lamellae are located or situated on both the sides of the gill. Thus each gill lamellae having triangular type of shape, broad end. Suppose this is single lamella, this is single lamella. This single lamella having broad end attached. Suppose this is the broad end, and this narrow end or apex is free in the branchial cavity. Apex directed, free in the branchial cavity. Suppose these are the 4 lamellae, first, second, third, fourth. Suppose these are 4 lamellae, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this much part. Here you can see in large diagram. Each lamella having small afferent side, that is right side, and large left side is called as the efferent side. Right side is called as the afferent side, and left side is called as the efferent side. This is large, that one is small. Each leaflet or each lamella shows number of small hair-like processes. These hair-like processes are called as cilia. Means each lamellae which are arranged parallel, right angle to one another, and all they bears on their external surface the smaller cilia or smaller hair-like processes. These hair-like processes or cilia helpful for continuous beating in the surrounding medium, and they maintain the water current which enters through left nuchal lobe while there is aquatic respiration. Each lamella shows on its both the surfaces. Suppose this is the anterior surface, this is the posterior surface, this is the broad end, this is the narrow or pointed end attached like this. On both the surfaces, anterior and posterior surfaces, each lamella bears numerous transverse ridges or grooves. Numerous transverse ridges or grooves. They are larger towards the attached end and they are smaller towards the tip or apex. These ridges or grooves are called as pleats. They are called as pleats. Number of blood vessels which contains deoxygenated blood, they are cover to each pleat. Means each lamella shows on its anterior face and posterior face number of ridges or grooves or pleats, and they are richly supplied with blood vessels which contain deoxygenated blood. Thus, these lamellae create water current at the time of aquatic respiration due to the presence of cilia. Each leaflet or lamellae external wall is thin, having mucus covering. It is vascular, and due to the presence of these pleats or richly supplied with blood vessels, they serve to exchange of O2 and CO2. We will see it in detail later on. This is the structure of ctenidium or gill. Each ctenidial axis provided with afferent blood vessel which collects deoxygenated blood from all parts of the body, and after purification, when water enters through left nuchal lobe, we will see it later on, this blood when becomes pure or when becomes oxygenated, it later carried by efferent blood vessel towards the heart, that is the auricle chamber. Means efferent blood vessel carry this oxygenated blood from ctenidium or gill towards the auricle, that is the chamber of heart. This is the ctenidium or gill. Then we will see pulmonary sac or lung, which is present in the left side of body. Here you can see this is the large pulmonary chamber. This is the small right branchial chamber into which gill is present or ctenidium is present. Due to epithenia, the mantle cavity divided into two chambers, right small branchial chamber, left large pulmonary chamber into which present pulmonary sac. This pulmonary sac is nothing but modification of mantle wall itself. At the roof of mantle wall, suppose this is the roof of mantle wall, there is a bag-like structure called as pulmonary sac, or it is called as lung. This pulmonary sac opens into pulmonary chamber through a small aperture. This aperture is called as pneumostome. It is called as pneumostome. Pulmonary sac opens into pulmonary chamber through an aperture called as pneumostome. This is the ventral part of the pulmonary sac. This is the dorsal part which attaches to the roof of mantle cavity. This ventral part of pulmonary sac is creamy white in color. Dorsal surface of pulmonary sac is highly pigmented. Internal, the cavity of pulmonary sac is thin, vascular, permeable and richly supplied with blood vessel which contains deoxygenated blood. This is the pulmonary sac, pulmonary chamber. This pulmonary sac shows alternate contraction and relaxation during aerial respiration. We will see it in detail later on. Then there are nuchal lobes, right and left. We have seen here right which is small, left which is large, and during respiration only they becomes rolled up, becomes enlarged. They are tube-like or siphon-like. When there is the respiration, at that time they becomes fully enlarged and forms about 2 cm length on their sides. We will see the aquatic respiration first. These are the respiratory organs, that is the ctenidium or gill on the right side of branchial chamber and pulmonary sac or lung towards the left side of pulmonary chamber, and 2 nuchal lobes. Right nuchal lobes is small and left nuchal lobe is large. We will see the process of aquatic respiration and aerial respiration. First we will see aquatic respiration. Or you may call it as a mechanism of respiration. First, we will see how aquatic respiration takes place. When animal lives in water, at that time they breathe or they respire with the help of this ctenidium or gill. Here, during the process of aquatic respiration, water enters through left nuchal lobe. It is also called as left siphon, or it is also called as left pseudopodium. When animal is in aquatic habitat, at that time water, surrounding water enters through this left nuchal lobe. Through this left nuchal lobe. Here, at the entry of left nuchal lobe, there is single leaf-like osphradium is present attached to the roof of mantle wall. This osphradium tests the physical nature of water. Then this water flow enters towards the branchial chamber. At that time, epithenia is pressed against the mantle wall and shut the pulmonary chamber. This water enters into the branchial chamber. Here, gill or ctenidium is present attached to the mantle wall by means of this ctenidial axis, and all these lamellae which are arranged in parallel way, all they are arranged in parallel way. Broad end is attached and narrow end is free. All these lamellae, numerous lamellae present, middle are largest and both the ends are smaller. All these lamellae bathed due to this incoming water current. These lamellae are supplied with transverse slits which contains deoxygenated blood vessels. This incoming water having dissolved O2, and here in the blood vessels there is the CO2 content blood. There is the exchange between O2 which is present in that water and CO2 which is present in this gill lamellae, because the lamellae having thin mucus wall or thin layer which is permeable and vascular. Here there is the exchange of O2 and CO2 takes place. Blood becomes pure and that CO2 goes out along with outgoing current of water through right nuchal lobe. This is the aquatic respiration. Clear? Then we will see the second pulmonary respiration, or you may call it as a aerial respiration. Aerial or pulmonary respiration. During the pulmonary respiration or during the aerial respiration, if the water in which the animal lives, it is having less amount of O2, at that time this will be happen, or when animal lives on land or when they are in terrestrial habitat, at that time they can respire with the help of this pulmonary sac or lung. During the process, through left nuchal lobe enlarges. During aquatic vegetation or submerged vegetation, at that time, if surrounding water contains less O2 or O2 deficient water is present, at that time the animal protrudes its left siphon outside the surrounding water. It rolls up this tube, left nuchal tube becomes rolled up and extends out of the surface of water about 2 centimeters, and fresh air draws from this left nuchal lobe. Or when the animal is on the land or on the terrestrial habitat, at that time head and foot protrudes and comes out of the shell, and the animal draws surrounding air through this left nuchal lobe. Air drawn through this left nuchal lobe, air enters into pulmonary chamber through this aperture. During the aerial respiration, the pulmonary sac aperture or opening becomes enlarged. It becomes enlarged. Here, pulmonary sac shows continuous contraction and relaxation, due to which air drawn into the pulmonary sac Wall, ventral wall and dorsal wall of pulmonary sac is again thin, permeable and vascular. It is provided with, richly supplied with deoxygenated blood vessels which contains CO2. Fresh air drawn from this left nuchal lobe when comes through this aperture into the pulmonary sac, there is exchange of O2 and CO2. Means O2 is absorbed into this pulmonary sac due to thin vascular nature of this wall, and CO2 from this blood vessel collected and goes out through left nuchal lobe. Means continuous, there is inspiration and expiration takes place. Inspiration means air drawn, surrounding environment air which contains O2 drawn inside through this left nuchal lobe, and expiration means CO2 from this blood vessel collected and driven out through same way. This is the expiration. Means inspiration and expiration takes place here in the pulmonary chamber where pulmonary sac is present, which is modification of mantle wall. This is the aerial respiration, or it is also called as pulmonary respiration. It will be happen when the animal is submerged inside the water and that water contains less amount of O2, or when the animal lives on the land or terrestrial habitat. Okay.